Seaglass by Sinead, Bowdish. Hollers echoed through the waterfront. Our class of 7th and 8th graders chased 20-ton carts rolling down the hill, which were too fast and hefty for anyone to catch, and yet some still managed to hold on to them. Those who did dug their feet into the ground, leaning way back in order to stop them from barreling out of reach and getting damaged, or causing damage. They clutched onto the bars with all their might. After that long, clamorous episode, we all took a leisurely break to prepare for the long road ahead of us, that road being a 4-day canoe trip, from Chewonki Neck to Spectacle Island. Once we'd snacked on roam sticks and granola bars, everyone circled up under the skinny branches of a thin forest. Hannah led us in an entertaining paddle game. T-grip, shaft, left, right. Laughter filled the air. After that intense mental exercise, we got into the canoes. The sun shone down on our full pickle barrels and water jugs, which traveled across the water with us to the Oxbow waterfront. We had a lunch of turkey and hummus wraps before we set out for our real destination, Ideal Point. There, we learned to set up our tents and how to do our crews: cook crew, dish crew, and wood crew. When the sun set, we sat around the campfire and sang, enjoying the calm moment after our tiring day. The next morning, we got out late. Missing the tide, we spent 6 whole hours attempting to paddle 3.5 miles. A select few canoes got continuously pushed back by the wild current. The sky was desolate and the air was misty. The journey to Castle Island was the hardest part of the trip. Wind whipped our faces, and waves soaked our arms. Buoys stood completely still in the water. We weren't moving at all, at least that's how it felt. However, even after Hunter got seasick and 5 minutes began to feel like 20, we made it to Castle with the help of some Oreos. Yet those 6 hours we spent paddling from Ideal Point to Castle Island were far more enjoyable than the many more hours we spent on the islet. We had spaghetti for dinner with a hint of lightning drill and a dash of mosquitoes. Hunter sang Billie Jean all night, while I angrily cried at the bugs. My dry bag spent the night in the tent with us, for it was too buggy to open the door and put it under the tent platform. Once the storm passed, we collected our dinner and ate in the darkness. I sat bundled up, with 2 pairs of pants and 3 sweaters. Some wore shorts, daring the mosquitoes. They awoke completely swollen with bug bites. We packed up swiftly enough to leave with the tide. The bugs that were brave enough to follow us in our canoes were instantaneously smashed to bits. We glided through the back door, at what seemed to be the speed of light, but was really somewhere around 1 or 2 miles per hour. A stop at Beale Island brought us malodorous bathrooms and a brief snack of gorp. After a short delay due to a lost PFD, we canoed another few hours to Spectacle Island. Gentle ripples pulsated through the water, which was so tranquil that we continuously forgot we were paddling on a river rather than a lake. We stopped at Whittam Island to check how far we were from Spectacle, over halfway there. Seals gazed distantly at us from the water. One of them laid on a cramped island, carefully watching us paddle by. Eventually, our canoes collided with the sunny shores of Spectacle Island. We dragged our canoes into a small path. They rested against each other, sheltered by the lush foliage of the island. In our downtime, we walked back and forth across the beaches. Seaglass spilled out of our pockets as we collected thousands of tiny, dull shards that had accumulated on the shore. Brown, white, green, blue, even purple sea glass was piled upon a stump by the fire circle. We climbed upon rocks, lost in conversations. Underneath the sun, we laughed and smiled, sharing what must have been the best moment of this trip. After we'd gathered a bag full of colorful shards, we got to work. We had a dinner of burrito bowls and a pleasant fire which we toasted marshmallows over. Our fingers were sticky with s'mores, and we laughed, chattering as the smoke escaped into the sky. Conversations soon died out as we did dishes, and eventually retreated to our tents. Some tried to sleep, while others stayed up talking. Excitement bounced from tent to tent. Everyone was ready to abandon their foul-smelling classmates the next day. The following morning, we packed up our gear. While the water jugs were empty, our pickle barrels still had a light amount of food still floating around the bottom. Our queen, the snacks and desserts pickle barrel we had learned to worship, was now weightless. We canoed speedily towards civilization, but not before we took a moment to watch the seals jump in and out of the water. Their dark bodies were illuminated by the morning sun. Beads of water were propelled into the air by their elegant flopping. Once we took off, they followed us for a long while, until we made it to the bridge crossing. Franny and I were repeatedly pushed back by the intense currents, but we eventually straightened out and made our way to the van. After loading canoes and other supplies onto the trailer, our class abandoned the Queen and plopped into the comfortable soft seats. We conversed each other on the way, mostly about Huckleberry's rather stylish sunglasses. Some of us hopped out at the building for a bathroom break, while others headed straight to pack out to unload. Our water bottles were newly filled, and the sight of an actual restroom had us practically in hysterics. Throughout the trip, we all persevered to reach our goals, whether that be getting better in the stern, a goal I set for myself, or being able to support our classmates. The Trawanki mission states that Trawanki inspires transformative growth, teaches appreciation and stewardship of the natural world, and challenges people to build thriving, sustainable communities throughout their lives. Our class definitely grew with this trip, both as individuals and as a community. Together, we persevered through intense winds and thunderstorms, all the while having loads of fun.